Good morning, rise and shine, beautiful people. So I was gonna film this video with my camera, and then that's it charging over there because literally I turned it on and then it died. So I guess when I was uploading videos yesterday, it ate up a lot of battery. But anyways, it's about 4:30 in the morning. I am getting ready for the gym. The gyms don't open till 6, so I like to take my time in the morning. Today is going to be a video about my training and training footage, so it's going to be a push day. I'm going to do a little bit of a voiceover, I'm going to do a voiceover. I don't know how you can do a little bit of it. But anyways, we're going to talk a little bit about supplements too. So first thing in the morning, I'll just start sipping some pre-workout. I'm not really hungriest in the morning, so I usually won't eat until after the gym. But I do sip protein during my workout, so the protein that I use is PE Science's Cake Pop protein. If you're one of those people that like Cake Pop, I highly recommend it. I'm also going to do a shot of testosterone and anthenate. This is 300 milligrams per cc. So I'll do that on Thursdays, and then I'll do a cc of cypionate testosterone on Sundays. I haven't had any negative effects from using these, actually. I keep saying it's early, bear with me. Sorry, in the bathroom, putting it away. Other than like mild hair loss, which I was able to control and I've actually reverse through supplemental means and stuff, no real notable side effects. I will also take 16 mgs of YK11, 30 milligrams of Rad 140, and 20 milligrams of tadalafil, so for blood flow, but I mainly take that to help with blood pressure. It helps significantly, but when I was 230 pounds, my blood pressure was getting a little too high and a little bit out of control. So I'm kind of glad that I'm starting to lose weight, so that's going to help a lot. Anyways, that is the morning supplement routine, at least for Thursdays. Rest days it changes, and depending on what I'm training that day, it also could change, but predominantly because I'm training my upper body, 4 days a week, this is going to be the, I guess you can say, the most regular supplement protocol, so stay tuned.
Exercise number 1, wide grip Smith machine incline press. Every day there is going to be movements that we prioritize load above all else, and usually they will be front loaded. So typically you would want to put the exercises that have the greatest motor unit recruitment and is going to predominantly recruit those muscle fibers that you're trying to build in the beginning while you're fresh. Because if you were to do this at the end of your workout, the amount of load that you'll actually be able to use will probably be very low. Maybe not low, but not sufficient enough in order to stimulate the growth pathways that you're trying to. And I will pick 2 to 3 exercises where I will predominantly focus on load, and I will progressively overload these movements anywhere from 4 to 6 weeks, depending how long the cycle that I am on. So I have 2 push days, one that focuses more on horizontal pushing and one that focuses more on vertical pushing. So today we're focusing more on vertical pushing. This is my first working set. This is 210 pounds, and I believe I only got 6 reps on this, which is surprising because I was able to do 245 the following week, but my grip was in a more, I guess you could say, biomechanical advantaged position, which allowed me to, produce a greater amount of force. But the upper chest area needs a lot of work, and anybody who's familiar with bodybuilding knows, as you start to build up certain areas tend to fall behind, and my upper chest is shitty right now. So that's why I'm throwing in a lot of wide grip type stuff into the mix. So even on my horizontal pushing day, my bench pressing will be utilizing a wide grip. So that was my top set, which, like I said, I was only able to hit 6 reps. And this is my back off set, which is 190 pounds. With your back off sets, the main idea is you want to decrease the load and go for as many reps as you possibly can, getting as close to failure as you can. Obviously, failure is a bit of a malleable term because there's technical failure, there's mechanical failure, there's psychological failure. I just say go until you can't go anymore, or at least until you can't proceed safely. Now, if you have somebody spotting you, or if you're on a machine, you can go balls to the wall, literally like piss coming out of your eyes, failure. But in this case, that's not. So what you're going to notice is I will do 2 working sets, a top set and a back off set. You'll just get to the point where it's superfluous, the work that you're doing, because the idea is you just want to stimulate the muscle as much as you can through mechanical tension and a sufficient amount of volume. You'll see me with this. I am really taking my time warming up, so I'll only do like 1 or 2 reps. When you're experienced, you'll know whether or not if the load is too light. Like you can do 20 reps, it's probably too light, and it shouldn't be your top set. It probably should be more of a back off set. And I thought 180 was going to be the weight that I ended up using. So here I am at 230 pounds, and I believe I made 1 more jump before I actually got up here, because it just felt light. I really like the incline hammer strength because the converging angles of the handles really, I just feel the entire pec when I'm doing it. And anybody who is familiar with bodybuilding knows that anytime you find an exercise that just really allows you to establish that strong mind-muscle connection, which basically means, for people who may not know, like as you're performing the movement, do you feel the muscle actually working? Or is it one of those things where, you don't? Some exercises you won't, but you'll be sore the next day in the areas that you want to target, so you leave those exercises in. But, there are going to be instances where you just don't, so I probably would just take them out altogether. This is my back off set. This is, let's say 190, 200. I believe this is 220. Is that 220? Yes, this is 220. So with back off sets, like I said, it doesn't really make a lot of sense to try to accumulate as much mechanical tension with the lower rep ranges and then trying to supplement that with a ridiculous amount of volume, because that's just going to create too much fatigue. It's going to be a lot of stress on the body. It's going to create a lot of neurological stress. So it's better just to drop the weight, how much you should drop it. It really just depends on how much you want to suffer in your subsequent sets. But for me, I usually have a rule I'll just drop it around 20 to 30%. So as you can see with this one, I'm doing more of a drop set. Well, not more of a drop set. I guess I must be fatigued from the incline pressing or the angle or whatnot, but I was only able to get 6 reps, which is a shitty back off set. So what I did was all right, I'm just going to do a drop set. Excuse me, I just ate. So yeah, drop sets are good for, I guess you could say, time's sake. That would be the main utility for them. I wouldn't say that they are more, I guess you could say, beneficial than regular straight sets. But it's just something to keep in the tool belt if you run into that position where you want to extend a set, you want to get as many reps as you can, you want to do a giant set. It's just a good tool to have into the tool belt. Now, my last pressing, in quotations, pressing movement, dips. Dips are probably one of my favorite exercises. I really feel my chest and my triceps simultaneously. It doesn't matter what position that I'm in, but if I allow my chest to come forward as if I was trying to reach my chest towards the pad, I would definitely feel a lot more recruitment. If I try to make more, I guess you could say upright, a vertical torso and keep that form perpendicular to the floor, I'll recruit more of the triceps. Needless to say, it's a great exercise that I like to do, and I attribute dips to my shoulder health. I've never had a shoulder injury. I mean, obviously, training smart, loading the tissues in the right way, using a full range of motion, and training overall in a balanced manner is a great way to avoid injuries. Like no knee injuries, no elbow, no shoulders. The only only injury that I've had was my lower back, and that's basically from wrecking it all the way at the age of 19, not rehabilitating it correctly, and just getting to a point where I guess you could say I worked around it, but I'm definitely addressing it a lot more. I would prefer to use a weight belt. I don't have one right now. I do have one back home in the Bay Area, so I just put the dumbbell between the knee and just proceed as follows. I always recommend don't bounce. Lower yourself for a nice controlled eccentric. 2 to 3 seconds should suffice. If you want to overload the eccentric and get a little bit more, I guess you could say, dangerous with it, that's an option. Or you could even pause in the stretch position for like 1 to 2 seconds. That's also an option, but not necessary. And I think I only got 8 reps on that set. So this is going to be what I call a feel exercise. Sorry, guys. A feel exercise. So I'm not a big fan of the whole pump chaser mentality, like going in the gym with the idea that you just want to engorge a muscle with blood, though there are times where that's very necessary and helpful. I think going in there with that, I guess you could say myopic mindset, that's the only way you should be training, leaves a lot of money on the table, especially considering how powerful mechanical tension is in terms of eliciting growth pathways, or at least stimulating those growth pathways. And another advantage to it is it gives you a nice proxy in terms of growth. So sometimes it's really hard to notice the changes in your physique, how much muscle you're putting on. But let's say, for example, you bench 225 for 10 reps. 6 months later, you're benching 265 for 10 reps. That may or may not happen. It just depends. But let's just say hypothetically that's your situation you're in. I can almost guarantee that your anterior deltoids have grown, your triceps have grown, and your chest has grown. So that's what I mean by, giving you a proxy for growth. Like if those things are happening, rest assured that you're probably growing. So these are pretty low reps for a feel exercise. I'm not a big fan of the Pec Dec Fly. I would prefer dumbbell incline or dumbbell flat flies. I definitely just feel my whole pec light up, but all the benches were taken and everything else was pretty busy in the free weight area. So for the sake of time, because I believe by the time I was filming this, it was 7 o'clock and I have a test at 8. I was just trying to get it in and get it done. But overall, I prefer cables over dumbbells. But they don't have a free motion here. Neither does the other gym that I train at, so we kind of just make do with what we have. You're going to notice at the final rep, I am going to come back and I am going to pause in the stretched position. Now, this is not something that I recommend a beginner does. This is something that you have to do when you're more advanced. There's a right way to do it and a wrong way to do it. I'll go over that in another video, but it's a great way to, I guess you could say, elicit more muscle damage. But if this is not something you're initiated with, it'll fuck you up. So probably, make an effort not to do it. Just realized there is a hole in my left pant leg, but, we don't care about holes, we're freaks. One of my favorite exercises is the machine lateral raise, because I literally feel that this locks you into the ranges and positions necessary to stimulate those middle deltoids. I don't feel any anterior deltoid, and even get a little bit of posterior delt activation too as well. I like to do it with my arms straight, not bent like that, but the way this machine is designed, it's not very economical. So my left hand would probably be running into that machine. So I have to adapt and just, do what I can to accommodate. But anyways, thank you everybody for watching. I am getting ready for May 8th. That's when I will be stepping on stage. Right now, my current weight is around 215. My goal weight for stage is 190. We'll see. I mean, I got abs right now at 215, which is pretty remarkable because when I was a natural, I would say my build weight or off-season weight was around 190, 195. I wouldn't say chubby, but I was definitely fluffy. And then my stage weight would be around 165, 170, so I drop around 20 to 25 pounds to get ready for a show. My abs won't start to become very visible until I got to around the low 180s, so like 185, 182. I mean, you might see them make a little bit of a cameo around 186, 187, but it's, nothing really impressive. I just look like an okay in-shape guy. But now I'm at 215, and my abs are pretty well defined. My intercostals are starting to get shredded. My obliques are popping out. So this is not an endorsement to do what I do in terms of enhancement. I'm just saying, like, a significant amount of muscle definitely helps in terms of recomping your overall physique. And I definitely noticed that my physique is a lot more balanced. My chest is bigger, my arms are bigger, my shoulders are bigger, my triceps are bigger. Like, in terms of being a physique athlete, I think that my overall package is much more balanced. And obviously, if I was an open bodybuilder or a classic physique guy, I would have different goals and I would train my body in a different manner. But because I am a physique guy, a men's physique guy, that upper band is so important. The shoulders, the chest, you want a nice thick, chest. You want a very impressive upper back. Like, my traps are pretty big. My upper back and my lats are pretty wide. My waist is very thin, and it only gets thinner and thinner as I get closer to a contest. So those are the things that you really want to focus on as a physique athlete. And obviously things change with the divisions, but that's what my main goal is. I'm probably going to be small May 8th, but thank you guys for watching. See you again.
All right, so if you're watching this, just did the voiceover for the training session, so I'm not going to go into too much detail about the nuance behind certain executions of exercises, the order your exercises should be in and stuff like that. Because to be honest, I know myself better than anyone, so I can really plug exercises in and order them in a way that I know is going to maximize the efficiency for me. And for you, that might be totally different. But for the most part, I would say that ideally it's going to be the same. There just might be some variation in there. Like some people just feel like their quads get stimulated more if they put their squats at the end of their workout. And if your goal is bodybuilding, I would say that that is totally fine. Granted that by the time you get to squats, you're not squatting like 40% less weight than what you typically would do for a given rep range. As you start to acclimate to certain cycles, the amount of weight that you can handle under fatigue will start to increase. But if you start to experience what's called a critical drop-off, where the amount of load that you could actually place upon the tissues that you're trying to stimulate decreases dramatically due to fatigue, I would probably front load those exercises. And even though there might not necessarily be a strong mind-muscle connection, let's say when you squat, like I don't feel my quads as much, I can guarantee you if you're squatting 260 as opposed to what you were squatting before where you feel it more like 190, your quads are working much harder and they will grow. So it's one of those things you kind of have to get outside of your head and just know that there's more weight on the bar, and as long as the range of motion is the same and the repetitions are the same, you're probably going to grow. But
you know, my back has just been one of the biggest, I guess you can say, limiting factors for me right now. It's almost 100%, but, you know, I have good days and I have bad days. I'm not symptomatic, I'm not in pain, but it's one of those things, like, I know I'm just one bad movement away from just ending my shit. So, and honestly, that has to do with me just being lazy with my rehab protocols and stuff. Like, I'll do maybe like 5 minutes of like the warm-ups I'm supposed to be doing, and then like there's usually like a 20-minute sequence that I'm supposed to do to strengthen the trunk and build endurance. And I've honestly just been lazy with that, and my back has felt the best when I was doing that pretty regularly. So that's just something that I'm gonna have to do. Did it today. And that's just my status update. So today was a push workout. So push basically is going to be chest, shoulders, biceps. For at least for this push workout. My second push workout, I throw triceps in there as well. But the thing is, there's just so much pressing present in my push workouts that I don't really feel the need to throw a lot of tricep work in there. It's just at a certain point starts to become superfluous and not necessary. But, you know, they're growing. You know, it's like I said, if your pressing strength is going up, I can guarantee that your triceps are probably getting bigger as well. And these are going to be the things that you need to keep in mind as you're progressing through a cycle. You know, sometimes it's hard because you may not see the cosmetic or aesthetic changes in the, I guess you could say, time frame that you want to. So you got to look at your logbook, and you have to realize that, hey, I'm getting stronger. You know, like 6 months ago, I benched, you know, 260 for 10 reps, and now I'm benching 310 for 10 reps. So I can guarantee that your chest, to accommodate that volume and workload and force and everything else, has hypertrophied. I mean, obviously there's other factors too as well, like, you know, motor unit recruitment, motor unit synchronization, you know, increased cross-sectional area, various other things as well. But, and also like the other, I guess you could say, synergist working, like your deltoids anterior are getting stronger, your triceps are getting stronger, and then there's also the technical aspect of it. But long story short, guarantee your chest is getting bigger within those rep ranges. And that just kind of goes to show like how important load is in terms of muscle growth. But anyways, that was the video. Hope you guys enjoyed it. I'm going to post this tonight, so see you soon.